Hey everyone, it's Ornlu, and indeed the Mountain Royals is going to be upon us relatively soon. Myself and other content creators were given early access to show off a lot of the cool stuff that this DLC will be bringing to you guys. I've already done overviews of the Armenians and Georgians, so definitely check those out on my channel if you haven't seen those. Those are going to be the new civilizations. But this video is going to be talking about the old civilizations, the pedestrian 43 other civilizations in AoE2. This includes the famed Persian rework. People have been hyped about it for months. It is a pretty big rework, I will say, and I'm looking forward to it a lot, but there were also other changes to the other civilizations, so this video is going to be covering all of those. So let's just get right into it. We're going to start here with the Persians and then do everything else, because people are looking forward to the Persian rework. This is going to be reminiscent of the change from Indians to Hindustanis. It's around that level of change. So you still have the core parts of Persians. Start with 50 food and wood, and TC and Doc have extra hit points and work faster per age. But first, right off the bat, you'll see that 5% in Dark Age is back. This was added at the launch of DE, or near the launch of DE, but then was considered too powerful and then was taken away. 5% faster work rate in Dark Age, guys, is really nice. Basically, you get an extra villager when you click up to Feudal Age, or by the time you click up to Feudal Age, as well as having those extra starting resources. So that alone would make Persians a much more competitive civ on a lot of different map types. But there's a lot more coming, too. And now you have 3 new civ bonuses. First one, Parthian Tactics available in the Castle Age. Parthia is considered to be one of the ancient Persian empires, so that makes sense. How useful is this going to be? Because, in general, guys, the Persian tech tree is, like, exactly the same. You don't have Bracer, so your Cav Archers do sort of peter off in the late game. That said, you get Cav Archers in Castle Age that get, 4 Pierce Armor? And 3 melee armor? Like, that's not bad. That's the same Pierce armor as a knight. Those are going to be some tanky Cav Archers. It is a pretty expensive upgrade for Castle Age at 200 food, 250 gold. It's at least going to open up an option of play for Persians in the mid-game that is quite powerful, that is not called knights. And that, I think, is worthwhile and makes this bonus interesting and, worth including, I guess, in the civilization. Because as it stood, Persians basically just wanted to go knights and camels every single game in Castle Age. So this is a nice non-cavalry bonus. That said, we have another cavalry bonus. Cavalry generate 5 gold when killing enemy military units. So this does not impact buildings, and it does not impact raiding. So you can't just kill villagers in the late game and get a lot of gold from it. It's a nice bonus. Say you kill, in an average game, 200 military units, and that's like being pretty generous. That's going to be 1,000 gold that you get over the course of a game, I think. 200 times 5 is 1,000. Yeah, like that's in a pretty big macro game. Obviously, it's going to be way less in a game that ends in, early to mid Castle Age. Solid bonus for sure. It's going to help your economy, and Persians are sort of the economy-focused cavalry civ. So yeah, going to be, I think, a pretty good bonus, especially in combination with the fact that your just eco is so much smoother to begin with that extra work rate in Dark Age. So yeah, we'll have to see how strong this is. Again, it doesn't affect villagers, otherwise it would probably be too good in the late game with Hussars killing villagers. But yeah, gonna help afford those more expensive units. And then, like the Hindustanis, the Persians, as a core part of the Silk Road, do get to build the Caravanserai in the Imperial Age to help your trade and team games. Persians are already a pretty good team game civilization, and this is just gonna help you trade in the late game even more, and being able to afford those chonky war elephants. And yes, guys, war elephants are still here. I know a lot of people were worried that the war elephants would go away. No. The devs ain't getting rid of my war elephants, not over my dead body. And beyond that, guys, war elephants have themselves received some changes. First of all, war elephants went from having 7 bonus damage versus buildings with regular and 10 with elite to just a flat 30. Yeah, that's right. War elephants now get 30 bonus damage versus buildings. These guys are like not quite siege weapons, but they're going to be pretty good at tearing down buildings. Also, basically Mahouts is baked into the unit because, as you'll see in a second, they have a new Imperial Age unique tech. So their movement speed is going to be going from 0.6 to 0.8. 0.8 is still very slow. It's slower than a battle elephant, but not by much. Mahouts was basically just an extra tax on upgrading war elephants because it was essential to the unit to obviously make it move faster. Right now, elephants are going to be able to scoot around a bit more easily. So good change there. And the elite upgrade cost was reduced from 1600 food 1200 gold, which was the most expensive elite upgrade in the game, to 1350 food and 800 gold, aka still one of the most expensive elite unit upgrades in the game, but it is at least more reasonable, so that's 250 less food and 400 less gold to upgrade. Are boar elephants going to fundamentally have their role changed? I don't think so. They're still probably too slow and expensive for 1v1s and too weak to monks, but it's a much more tempting transition to in the Imperial Age, especially if you have caravanserais to help you out in team games. Like, this is pretty cool. 30 bonus damage versus buildings is that's a big number right there. So I'll have to see how these guys play out and might do some tests with them in a future video. Kamandarin, by the way, is exactly the same, and the team bonus of knights gaining +2 attack versus archers also the same. But as you've probably noticed as I've been glossing over it so far, Persians have another unique unit. They no longer have the Paladin guys, they have the Sarvar unit that I think a lot of people expected Persians to get in some way, and this is going to be a replacement to the Paladin upgrade. Sarvars are pretty cool. Now, if you compare it to the Paladin, one, it's cheaper to upgrade. Instead of 1300 food, 750 gold, it's 1000 food, 600 gold, so it's easier to get to. HP is a lot less. Well, it's 15 less. Paladins have a base 160 HP, Sarvars have only 145. Both have 14 attack. However, Sarvars have one more armor. So they have one more melee armor at 3, and one more pierce armor at 4. That means Sarvars have the same pierce armor, guys, as Tarkin's Elite Eagle Warriors and Elite Skirmishers. Yeah, that's pretty cool. The extra melee armor relative to a Paladin, it probably more or less balances out the 15 less extra HP. But on top of that, Sarvars also get bonus damage versus archers. It's not that much bonus damage, it's only 3, but that does compound with the 2 bonus damage you get versus archers with your knights to begin with. So you have a very strong anti-archer cavalry unit with 19 attack versus archers without any blacksmith upgrades. So with full blacksmith upgrades, you are killing Arbs in 2 hits, I believe, if my math checks out. So yeah, that's pretty darn good. That still, it should perform fairly similarly in melee combat. Obviously, there will be some stuff that Paladins are better than Sarvars at. Also, I actually just looked this in the up in the Genie editor. You don't lose the attack speed that Paladins do. You have the same attack speed of 1.8, which is the same as Knights and Cavaliers, whereas Paladins attack around 5% slower at 1.9. So Sarvars, again, a little bit of an advantage there as well. These guys are going to be much easier to access in 1v1s, especially because Persians, really good economy. You're getting that extra gold to begin with, so I imagine we'll be seeing lots of Sarvars running around all over the place. Definitely a cool Paladin replacement unique unit. Lastly, for the Persians, Mahouts, like I mentioned, was replaced by a new unique tech, Citadels. 600 wood, 300 gold. Castles fire bullets. Basically, castles now are like hand cannoneers shots. +4 attack, +3 damage versus rams on all bullets, and +3 versus infantry, and they receive 25% less bonus damage. Persians have otherwise very underwhelming defenses. Bad ranged units, bad monks, and then, no fortified wall, they don't have keeps, arrow slits, bombard towers. Suddenly, though, guys, you have masonry and architecture and hoardings. You still don't have bracer. But that's a lot of attack you're getting. It is going to be tough to break those Persian defensive positions. And the 25% bonus damage especially is going to help buy you time to maybe get to that expensive Sarvar upgrade. Get those bombard cannons or hand cannoneers out. Make those, expensive unit transitions that Persians need to do because, well, their army's very expensive. So it's definitely a way more interesting tech, and having the gunpowder castles is a lot of fun. Also leaning more into that the Safavid aspect of the Persians being, one of the gunpowder empires. We have Ismail as one of the campaigns in the new DLC, so I think that all works out very well. So that, guys, is the Persian changes. Really, really cool. The civ seems very strong. I don't know if it might need a little bit of a nerf. You're getting a lot of different buffs at once. But it is cool, and I think the most important thing, like with the change from Indians to Hindustanis, is it made a civ that felt kind of one-dimensional, much more multifaceted. You have a more competitive economy in the current meta, a very competitive economy in the current meta. You have the Parthian Tactics in Castle Age, you have the strong trade bonus, war elephants feel a lot more viable, and Persians are just a cooler civilization. And I really like that. Yes, the numbers may need to be tuned down, but, that's okay. That's something that is much easier to fix than this whole rework idea to begin with. So guys, those are the Persian changes, but still, there were other changes to the other civs. First, some general changes. Elite and Imperial skirmishers have their attack bonus versus spearmen increased from 3 to 4. Yeah, this is interesting. They're changing a very fundamental interaction between trash units. Skirmishers in the late game have definitely felt like the weakest trash unit, mostly because Halbs get an Imperial upgrade, Hussars get an Imperial upgrade, and skirmishers only get an Imperial upgrade if you're Vietnamese or have a Vietnamese ally. So this is going to help skirmishers civs, or civs that their trash strength comes from skirmishers in part, like Lithuanians or Dravidians or Koreans, Byzantines. Like, that is going to make the skirmisher more useful in the mixed armies against halberdiers. So that is, I think, it's a pretty big deal, and I'll be interested to see how that impacts trash wars in the long run. Also, in a similar fashion, the Berbers have their elite genitor attack versus spearmen increased from 2 to 3. So not as much as the regular elite skirmisher, but remember that genitors have elite genitors have 1 higher attack anyway. So that kind of balances out. So basically, similar idea. Another change is the battle elephant. So battle elephants used to have a base movement speed of 0.85. Now battle elephants have a base movement speed of 0.88. So battle elephants are now 0.08 faster. Oh, sorry, 0.03 faster. I have no idea how much this changes anything. This makes them, I think, faster than archers with husbandry. So maybe that'll help them out versus archers a little bit. But archers can still, archers can kite knights, man, and knights are a lot faster than archers. I really don't know how much this changes, but I do think battle elephants are a little on the weak side, so a buff to them is, I think, just a good thing. This is going to be controversial, guys. We are getting some monk changes. 1. Conversion attempts will now take 1 second to disrupt the current task of a villager instead of instantly inducing fleeing behavior. So if you guys are familiar with the monk trick, where you spam conversions on villagers that are trying to rush up a castle or some other building, and the villagers will just immediately walk away, you can't do that anymore. There will be a 1 second, window where the villager will keep on building before, walking away. So it's now going to be much more difficult to just prevent an enemy castle drop with only a monk, or using a monk to massively delay the castle drop. I thought it was a pretty fun trick, but it is probably overpowered, and this change is for the best. Probably. Other change. Monks will no longer retain conversion cycle changes when switching between buildings and units. So what does this mean? When players would charge up conversions, say you have a monk with redemption, and you just start converting a house or a barracks or something, and then an enemy unit walks into range, and then you just immediately convert that unit. Now that conversion timer will reset. And I can show this off in a later video, but for the time being, just know that you can't charge up conversions on buildings anymore for the instant turnaround conversions on units. These are both nerfs to monk play. Not like the core functionality of monks, but rather exploits that players have figured out over the years to make monks perhaps more powerful than they were ever intended to be. So the people who are complaining that monks are overpowered, you are getting a bit of a gift here for sure, but at the end of the day, monks are still monks. They're going to do the things that the unit is supposed to do. You can still clown away. Now for Civ-specific bonuses, first will be the Celts, who are going to be gaining the Ring Archer Armor upgrade. Finally, the Celts get a 3rd Imperial Age Blacksmith tech. Celts were the only Civ to only have 2 Imperial Age Blacksmith techs. Now they have Ring Archer Armor to help out their skirmishers, deal with archers in the early Imperial Age. Is this a big change? Not really. Like, your skirms are still bad, you don't have Bracer, but I guess they're a little less bad, and maybe bridging that gap between late Castle Age to getting a bunch of onagers in an Imperial Age to flatten archers is going to be a bit easier. Again, it's not like Celt skirms are good, they're still bad, but they're at least less bad. And perhaps this will help that early Imperial Age time when Celts are so weak. Japanese are getting a new bonus. Cav archers gain +2 attack versus archers. This is going to be designed to encourage Japanese to do stuff other than Arbalest, because Japanese have fully upgraded Cav archers, but that never really got to see the light of day. So now you're going to get just extra damage versus archers, or anything that has the archer armor class, by the way. So that includes other Cav archers, that includes... I think that includes skirmishers as well. Again, we'll do more testing on this later. And it, of course, includes the archer line. This is going to be a pretty solid bonus and make Japanese a civ that are going to want to go cav archers in a lot of situations. You can still do the Hound plus Arbalest play, no problem. Those are still all fully upgraded. But again, it could open up another dynamic to Japanese that has otherwise, or I guess hitherto, not really seen a lot of usage. So interesting stuff. You still don't have an eco bonus in the mid game to help out your cav archer play, so it still could be tough to get going. Okay, next is going to be the Magyars. This is going to be a bit of an adjustment to the Magyar Hussar. So now their cost has gone from 80 food and 10 gold to 35 food and 45 gold. So much cheaper on the food cost and much more expensive on the gold cost. And Corvinian Army will still shift that back over to the 80 food of that it normally is. So really this is more of, you can make Magyar Hussars much more easily in mid-game now as okay, let's get this guy out quickly. Also, their Castle Age HP has been increased from 70 to 75, and their train time has been reduced from 16 to 14 seconds. So this is going to make Magyar Hussars a much more compelling unit in the mid-game, as opposed to, we don't make this at all until we get Corvinian Army in the late game, and just spam them as our Hussar replacement. So I think this is pretty cool. It's going to make the unit easier to get out. It's weird to say that making a unit cost more gold makes it easier to get out, but remember that in the mid-game, food is a much more valuable resource than gold. Gold mines very quickly, and food you need to spend on a lot of upgrades, as well as villagers, and in the case of Magyars, probably some cavalry units. So I think this is an interesting change. I don't think it's like the biggest deal in the world, but it does make this unit more powerful in the mid-game. Elite Magyar Hussars with full upgrades, by the way, completely unchanged. So it can be very impressive in post-imp. So good that it's a buff to, not a buff, but like a change to the mid-game Magyar Hussar, not the late-game one. Next up is going to be the Poles, who lose access to the guild's technology. This is a great change. Poles' late-game economy is really, really, really strong. And just even reducing that super late-game efficiency at the market that you get via guilds, I think this can help balance the civ that just feels like it's almost an auto-win in every matchup that gets to like super late-game with crop rotation winged Hussar spam. So definitely a fan of that there. Next up is going to be the Saracens. So they are having their camel HP bonus change to camel units that used to get plus 10 HP, just a flat 10 HP. Now it's camel units get plus 25% hit points. So the camels can get, 145 HP in the mid-game? That's a lot of HP for those camels. But you lost Zealotry, which makes Saracens the only civilization to have both of their unique techs changed. Like, in AOC, it was just Zealotry. Then they added Madrasa to have the monks recuperate some of their lost gold cost. And now that's gone. It was replaced by Zealotry in the mid-game, and now we have counterweights in the Imperial Age. Zealotry was moved to the mid-game, and now Zealotry's been replaced as well. And it's been replaced by the upgrade by Mariston. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It is 300 wood, 200 gold, and monks automatically heal nearby units. So that's going to make Saracen monk play really, really good. It's already good monk play, but it's going to make it even more powerful. Again, we'll do some more testing later. 75 HP per minute is a good healing rate, and it's within a 5-tile range. So we'll have to see how exactly that stacks up later on, but it's definitely going to be a nice unique tech. It's probably not Inquisition. Actually, it could be Inquisition good. I mean, it's nearby units all at once. That's going to be pretty good. Looking forward to that one for sure, seeing how that helps the clown play. Then last but not least, Slavs fans rejoice. Farmers work 15% faster. The nerf has been undone. Long ago, Slavs used to have 15% faster working farmers, and they were considered very strong economically. And then it was nerfed to 10%. And now the civ just never really got to see the light of day, at least relative to a lot of other civs. But now the farmers are back, guys. The peasantry has returned. 15% faster working farmers is really going to rejuvenate that Slav eco and help it better compete with the civs that have really powerful economies these days. And that's going to be it, guys, for the non-Armenian and Georgian changes. Definitely let me know what you think of these in the comments. What do you think of the Persian rework? I think they'll probably be a little too good, but at least they're going to be interesting. And I'd like all the other changes as well, at least most of the other changes. Oh, wait, hold on. I almost forgot. Whoops. Romans actually received a slight nerf. Whoops. So the Centurions went from boosting the militia line to attack 25% faster for Castle Age version and 33% faster for Imperial Age, down to just 20%. So it's a straight up nerf for both Castle and Imperial Age Centurions as far as they boost the infantry line all the way up to the Legionaries, of course. We don't normally see this combo all that much. I guess it can be really strong if you get them all together, but normally you just see the Legionaries with like maybe 1 or 2 Centurions in the back, so perfectly fine with this change. Don't think that Romans are generally not like that crazy in the late game anyway. Usually it's just the really annoying early stuff with infantry. Anyway, for realsies, guys, those are all the changes. So let me know what you guys think of those in the comments, and I will see you next time for some more The Mountain Royals action.